At ease, brothers. Let's use today as a rally point. In other words, today, let's pause. Today being the last day of June, the last day of the first half of the year, man. Let's use today as a rally point or halftime, if you will, right? Because we've all been traveling the path. We've all been in grind mode. We've all been burning the bridges that needed to be burned. We've all been doing the inner work. We've all been cutting the vices. We've all been separating ourselves from the people that no longer served us. We've been traveling the path, right? So I'm saying use today, man. Again, this last day of the month as a rally point, brothers. As a time to kind of just pause and see what's going on in life. You know what I'm saying? So the first thing we must do at this rally point, brothers, or at any rally point, is first observe what's going on, man. Like if a man sets out on a journey and he just travels and travels and travels until he thinks he's hitting this destination, it is highly possible, man, that he can look up and end up being in a completely wrong spot. Like 1 or 2 degrees off, and that man can end up in a completely different location, man. You know what I'm saying? So the first thing we have to do, brother, is just observe our lives. You know, a lot of people set New Year's resolutions, man. A lot of people say, I'm going to get healthier. I'm going to get a bigger bag. I'm going to get a good woman. I'm going to do all these things. I'm going to be better to people around me. And we look up, man, and a lot of people don't look up till December, 26, 27, getting ready to make New Year's resolutions again. And they look at the last page of their journal and say, hey, you know what? This page I'm getting ready to write looks just like the page I wrote last year. So that's why it's important, man, to set these mile markers, man, to have these rally points along your journey to just kind of see what's going on, to see if you're on path. So the first thing we must do, man, is observe our lives. Observe your life. Observe those mental notes that you made on January the 1st of this year, right? Observe those things that you said you were going to be doing. Observe those places you said you were going to be. The financial situations, the health, the whole shebang. Observe those notes. Go back and look at those Instagram posts and see if you're there. And see if you're there. Or see if you're en route to getting there. Because if you're on path, you should better just look a few more miles down the road and see that destination. But if you're not, you look down the road, you might have to look all the way over here. It might be 30 degrees to your left. That's why we must have these rally points, man. And if you're halfway through the year and you're not at least halfway to your destination, brother, again, observe your surroundings. Observe your surroundings. You know what I'm saying? Because I would say like this. Observe the things you're doing. Not to point the finger. Not to say that I'm off course because this person or this place or this thing, because the ownership is on you. The ownership is on us. But observe your actions, your habit, your daily rituals to see why you're off course. Observe who you're texting and who you're talking to every day. Observe what you're listening to. Observe what you're watching on YouTube. Observe what you're doing on weekends. And I'm talking about just having a 30-minute conversation with self and being honest with yourself and say, okay, you know what? Let me look at my destination. Am I on course? Right? And if I'm not, or if I am, let me still observe my surroundings. You know what I'm saying? Are the people, places, and things supporting me where I'm going, or are they serving as anchors or distractions? Because they're serving as one of them. They're serving as support elements for you getting there, or they're serving as distractions or anchors, brother. There's no way around it. That person you texting every day. That woman that wants your attention every 5 minutes, every evening. That partner that want to go smoke and drink every weekend. He's either helping you get to that spot, or he's low key holding you back, bro. You have to understand that fifth of Henny that you taking a sip of every single day you get off work, it's either helping you move forward or it's holding you back. This is the point where you monitor this, man. This is the point where you monitor it. Yeah, the parties in the club, they've been fun, man. You've had a blast. But this is the day you say, hey, you know what? Is it propelling me forward? Or is it a chain and ball around my ankle? What is it doing, man? You know what I'm saying? And it takes you really, like, this is a real honest conversation, man, that a lot of people think that a lot of things are supposed to be in our lives just because they've been there the whole time we've been alive. But that doesn't mean, in other words, you've had some habits, some things you've been doing your whole life that it's like now's the time to say, hey, you know what? I've been doing this for 20 years, 30 years, 50 years. And I've been noticing that there's really no progress behind it. Get rid of it, man. If you're trying to get to that destination. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, to travel this path, it ain't for everybody, bro. If you're really trying to do that thing you said you're going to do, this rally point is crucial, man. This rally point is where you're supposed to assess yourself, man. Yeah, on January 1st, you said, hey, I'm going to have XYZ done. I'm going to be in a new city. I'm going to be below X amount of pounds. If you aren't halfway there, bro, stop and see what's going on, man. So observe, brothers. Observe, man. One thing I don't want to leave out, man, is and I'm basing this off of a conversation I had with a brother a couple of days ago. We talked about every single thing under the sun that the brother was doing right and the brother was doing wrong, man. And what happens a lot of times, that last piece of the conversation is who you're blending worlds with, right? So during this observation of self, observation of what you're doing, brothers, be cautious of who you're blending worlds with. And of course, primarily I'm talking about cautious of the woman you're blending emotional energy with. But really, when you talk about blending worlds, it's emotional energy with everybody. Of course, the deepest level, man, is the woman you're laying with. But I'm gonna tell you this, man. If you're, and this is a conversation, man, that I shouldn't have to have, but a lot of brothers still don't get this. Like the woman you're laying with, like pause for a second. The woman you're laying with, audit her world. Audit her world and say, you know what? Okay, this is where I'm going. This is my mindset. This is the destination. Let me look at her habits, her rituals, her mindsets, her practices. Let me see if she was in command, if she was in charge, if I had to run my, if my energy was based strictly off of hers, would I get to my destination? And I know we don't think like that when she got a big booty and she got her hair did. But I'm telling you, man, if you're really trying to travel this path, you have to start thinking like that. You can no longer think like common men. You know what I'm saying? So be cautious of the person you're blending energies with. Again, it's not always women. The brothers that just text you on a regular basis, that call and want to talk to you. Man, I'm gonna tell you this, man. Every year, every rally point, you gotta audit your friends, man. You have to audit your friends. That's why I never take it personal, man, when me and some brother falls out. Because sometimes I got to cut brothers off, and sometimes brothers got to cut me off. Sometimes the stuff I'm talking about, the life I'm about, it may go completely against what another brother is doing. He should cut me off, man. So man, just make sure you observe your world, man. So once you observe your world, man, once you make your mental notes of the path you traveled the first 6 months, once you've made your mental notes of all the people, places, and things that are either pushing you forward or holding you back, now it's time to recalibrate, brothers. Now it's time to recalibrate, man. Because you got to understand this. You have to understand this. Throughout your path, man, throughout your journey, whether we're talking about this 6 months of life or whether we're talking about your entire life, throughout your path, man, you're going to make mistakes. Throughout your journey, you are going to make mistakes, man. Like nobody's perfect. You can do all the planning, you can do all the note taking, you can do all the journaling, you can do all the booking consultations, you can do all the listening to 423 megahertz, you can do all the watching the right YouTube videos. You're going to make mistakes. The ball will be dropped. And think about it, man. If you were just the perfect person that could travel the path flawlessly, then what would be the point of you even being here? Like what would be the point? At that point, you might as well just check out and go ahead and go to the next level. Go back to the upper room, man. So you're going to make mistakes, man. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have bad spending habits at some points in life. You're going to make some purchases that really don't make no sense. And a year later, 2 years later, 3 weeks later, you're going to say, you know what? Why did I even purchase that? Why did I spend my money like this? And you're going to realize it set you back. You're going to have times in your life, man, where you entertain people, man, that weren't on your frequency. I won't say on your level, because you're not better than anybody else. But you're going to meet people. You're going to entertain people. You're going to exchange emotional energy with people, man, that aren't on your frequency. And you're going to look up a year later, 2 years later, 5 years later, and say, you know what? I should be way further down the path than what I am. But I chose to entertain somebody I chose to blend worlds with somebody that wasn't on that frequency. And where I'm finally getting here, I should have been there 3 years ago. Or you look at this 6 month period and say, okay, you know what? I see where I am in relative to where I'm going, but I see where I slowed myself down by entertaining the wrong people. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to make mistakes, bro. You're going to make plans. You're going to start things, man, that once things get going, you're going to look back and say, you know what? I didn't do that right. I called a certain play, but I didn't run the play right, man. Now is the time, man, where you sit still and observe that, bro. And you recalibrate. You look over the 6 months to see, look at everything you did wrong and figure out what you have to do to make it right. To make it right. You know what I'm saying? And when I say recalibrating, understand that, hey, maybe you wasn't loving yourself enough. I talk about that a lot, man. And that's one thing that as men, we really have to do better of, man, is loving ourselves better. Because we're built / or trained to sacrifice. We're built to put this world before us. We're built to protect and provide for just the world in itself. But that doesn't mean we have to neglect self. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us have been trained so much that since it's in our DNA to protect and provide, that, hey, you know what, just abandon your own well-being, abandon your own desires, abandon what you want to do for yourself, and focus on getting the rest of the world right, man. A lot of times, man, we aren't moving as far as we want to move, man, because we aren't loving ourselves enough. You know what I'm saying? Spend time on yourself, man, to take you a 3-day vacation to go vent. You know, go and spend money on that whatever it is that you want to buy that's going to give you that massage. You know what I'm saying? That book. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? Love yourself, bro. Spend time for yourself. It ain't even about spending money on yourself. A lot of times, self-love is just spending time to yourself. You might be married, kids, whatever, all kind of responsibilities. Bro, carve time without every single week where that time is just for you. Whether it's a whole day or whether it's a whole week within a month, whatever it is for you, carve out your time, man. It's important. Because those are many rally points within the main objective. That's when you sit down and reflect. You know what I'm saying? So just understand you're going to make mistakes, brothers. At this point is when you're supposed to amend your plan. Everybody at the first of the year, everybody at the end of 2024 had the perfect plan on paper. Now is when you amend it. Okay, yeah, you were gonna do this. This was gonna be your rituals on Monday through Friday. On weekends, you were gonna do this. But you can look back and say, you know what? That was the plan, but it hasn't worked out for me. It hasn't really worked out like I wanted it to. I know personally, man, I put some things in place, man, and made my plate full. And I can look back easily and say, you know what? There's a lot of things I did and put in play that I gotta recalibrate. There's a lot of things I've initiated that I have to recalibrate, man, moving forward. Meaning from July 1 to the end of the year, I have to do some things that I started off. I gotta do them differently, bro. Do it differently, man. So go in and amend your plan. Go in and amend your plan. Yeah, you might have planned on moving from Chicago to California by June. End of June? Yeah. You might have planned on moving to June. You and your fiance, y'all might have planned on being married by October. But you're looking at your plans right now and you're saying, babe, like we're off somewhere. Like that plan we set back in January, like we're a few degrees off. In other words, something in our planning, something in our saving, something is not working right. Observe that thing, man, and recalibrate what it is you have to recalibrate, bro. You know what I'm saying? Recalibrate it, brothers. And then you got to do this. At this point, and do this at every rally point, man. At least during the halfway point of your rally point, man. It is imperative, and this is powerful, man. This is gonna change your life. At this point, man, always set personal ultimatums. Always set personal ultimatums. And y'all know what ultimatums are. When old girl come to you and say, hey, you know what? If we ain't married by this date or whatever, then we done. Or if your job says, if you don't get these reports to me by these dates, then we're going to have a misunderstanding. Right? Everybody else wants to set ultimatums for you, man. You have to learn at this point of the journey, man, set ultimatums for yourself. Set an ultimatum for yourself. In other words, you got to say to yourself, on this particular day or this particular month or at the end of the year, right? Whatever that end date is, this thing is going to happen. Rain, sleet, hail, or high water. This thing is going to happen. I got a partner, man. I ain't talked to him, man, in a long time, right? You know, I got a partner, man. He was gonna quit his job at the end of the year, right? And me and him were chopping up January, February, March, right, of last year, 2024, and the brother was doing his thing, right? I said, man, what you have to do is, I said, you got to set an ultimatum. Like if you're saying you're gonna leave your job by January 1, then you got to say to yourself that, hey, on December 31st, I don't care what's going on, I'm quitting my job. Like I don't care if I gotta go and be a barista at 3 or 4 different Starbucks to make my income, but on this day, I'm quitting my job. Like on January the 1st, I'm no longer walking in this building. You know what I'm saying? Like set an ultimatum. You know what I'm saying? Like I got these 30, 40 pounds on me, and doctor says that, hey, you know what? It's killing me slowly. Then by January the 1st of this year, it won't be there. And if it's there, I'm gonna sew my mouth shut. If it's still there, I'm sewing my mouth shut. Ultimatums, man. Or I'm going on a water fast until I get there. You got to set ultimatums for yourself, bro. It's powerful. It's powerful because you got to understand, man. You got to understand when you're on this journey, you're traveling solo. Yeah, you got people in places in your vicinity, man. You might have a woman on your team, but traveling this journey, you're by yourself. You're traveling solo, man. So you must be the CEO of your mind. The CEO of your life, man. So it's easy to fall in a trap, man, it's easy to fall in the trap of not, of not having anybody to answer to. It's easy to fall in that trap, man, of not having anybody to answer to and just saying, okay, you know what, man, well, one day I can go and not do this thing. Like, ain't nobody checking me. 2 days, ain't nobody checking me. A week passed by, it's like, man, ain't nobody said nothing yet. Because there ain't nobody gonna say nothing. Because it's just you. You're the CEO of your life, man. So you have to set deadlines and you have to set ultimatums. Where it's like, you know what? I don't care what takes place. On this day, I'm walking out. On this day, if my girl don't wanna fix that thing I had an issue with, on this day, I'm done. And stick to it. And stand on it, man. And once you set that ultimatum, man, how they say it? Plan your work and work your plan. Plan your work and work your plan, brothers. Meaning whether you're writing it down or not, bro, plan your work and work your plan. Meaning, I understand what I have to do to get to that goal. I've observed. I see what I'm doing right. I see what I'm doing wrong. I've recalibrated. Now I'm deeper down the path. I'm closer to the goal. Oh, I can see exactly what I need to do now. I gotta get up an hour and a half earlier to do what I need to do. I gotta get up every day and cut this camera on. Oh, I gotta go to the gym every day, no days off. Oh, I see what I got to do now. And do it, man. Make it your religion. Make it your religion, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because it's simple math. You know, when we decide what it is we want to do, what we want to achieve, I don't care who it is. I don't care what you want to achieve. Everybody has the recipe. Everybody has the answer. So it's really not a matter of, because everybody has access to universal mind. A lot of people have a lot of problems tapping into it because they've allowed the world to subdue that. They said, to cover that up, to calcify that thing so they can't really see, tap into universal mind. But a lot of people that are trying to move forward, they have access to what they need to do. Oh yeah. Most people know exactly how they need to be moving. They know exactly what they need to do. Even if you want to think about this. Even if you're saying, "Hey, man, okay, yeah, man, I'm trying to level up. I'm trying to drive faster things. I'm trying to live in bigger, whatever. I'm trying to do something better." If you need to go from 75 to 150K a year, there's no way in the world you can't tell me you don't know how to do it. Like if you just sit still for a day, if you sit still for a whole week and just ponder, cut everything out. Cut the outside noise out and just ponder on self. Ponder on your skill. Ponder on your attributes. Ponder on the knowledge you have. Ponder on things that you've seen around you. You can't tell me that you don't know how to double your income in the next 12 months. You can't tell me that. You can't tell me that you can't get at least an extra 10 to 15% income from your life. It's the matter of you applying that thing that you know. Application. Action is everything, brothers. So whatever it is, wherever it is you're traveling to, wherever you've been going since January 1 or whenever you started your journey, you know how to get there. Yeah, you might have allowed a few things to slow you down. Yeah, you might have messed with the chick, or yeah, you might have got back on the vice for a little bit and it slowed you down, but you good. That's why we taking 5, bro. We're taking 5 to look at that, but you know how to get there. You know what I'm saying? You know how to get there. So the next step, man, is move forward, brothers. The next step is moving forward. I love action, even if it's slow action. Because sometimes my actions will be slow. Sometimes I'll be dragging out. Sometimes I'll look up, man, and can look in the mirror and say, "So you've been somewhat lazy." But it's never stopping. So now it's time to move forward, but not just move forward, man. Now that we've recalibrated, now that we're halfway down the path, now it's time to move forward aggressively, bro. Now it's time to move forward aggressively, man. I can remember, man, and I'm thinking about this because before you move forward, man, what you have to do is, in the military, what we used to call sensitive item checks. You know, out of all the stuff that I can think about, I learned in the military, man. You know, all the skills they taught, the attributes, the demeanors, just the way to do certain things. Man, by far one of the most important things I learned in the military, man, was the sensitive item checks. Right? And we used to be on our road marches, man, or navigating through the woods or whatever we were doing, man, or hell, going through, even, you know, in wartime, going through the desert. You know, we might sit still for a minute. Before you move forward, you have to do a sensitive item check. In other words, you get ready, you pack your bags up, you get everything ready to go. You ready to move out, right? Before you move out, boom, you checking everything. Where my dog tags? You know, in other words, where's my ID? Do I got my wallet? Do I got my keys? Do I got my ammo? Do I have my weapon? Did I leave my small arms behind? Is everything ready to go? Let me make sure that once I take a step off, I know for a fact everything is on me. I have everything I need. And brother, that transferred to the civilian world, man. I love that element. Because now before I get up, I'm checking everything. Before I leave the house, keys, wallet, everything. Before I get up and leave this part, I'm checking everything. I'm gonna take 2 steps away and I'm gonna turn back and look again. You know what I'm saying? That has changed my life, man. Because I can say, as far as me like leaving something, but it only happens like once every year and a half, when I leave the house and I forgot my glasses. Something like that. It's rare, bro. Because I'm always doing that sensitive item check, right? So we gotta take that same element, that sensitive item check, and do the same thing to move forward. If we're getting ready to move forward energetically to complete this year, brother, we gotta do a sensitive item check. So just like in the military, man, when I used to check my ID, but you gotta check your ID now. In other words, check your identity. I'm always saying, who am I? Where am I going? The most 2 important questions: who am I? Where am I going? That's your sensitive item check, man. So before you take a step, you gotta say, you know what? Who am I? What's my identity? Because the identity is creating the world around me. My ID is creating my destination. So let me make sure I have my ID on me. Let me make sure that before I take a step out of her, man, I know who I am. Right? Before I take a step out of her, man, let me make sure I have my map. Let me make sure I know where I'm going. Because if not, when I get to that next rally point, man, I'm gonna look up, and if I don't have it, but I'm gonna be in somebody's backyard. I'm gonna be on somebody's porch, man, having no idea where my destination is. So, man, do your sensitive item check, bro. Do that. Make sure you have your compass, which is your truth. In other words, you have your identity. You have your direction. Make sure your fuel. Make sure that thing that you're standing on is taking you right. Your compass. Make sure you're headed in the right direction, brothers. So make sure you do that sensitive items check, man. And like I said, move forward with aggression. Because a lot of times when we start our journey, man, a lot of times we'll be tiptoeing through life because we don't want to get too far off path. We don't want to get too we don't want to mess up. But now you can look back, man, and see that, hey, you know what? This is my trajectory. This is where I'm going. Okay, I'm in alignment. Let me double down on my speed. Let me double down on the amount of work I put in now. Because now I know I'm aligned, man. Make sure you're moving forward with aggression, bro. I remember this, man. I remember when I was in this was 98. I hadn't long been in the military. We had Operation Desert Fox. Operation Desert Fox, man. And I can remember, man, when we landed our planes in Kuwait and we went forward to just got in the desert in Kuwait, man. The first thing we had to do, again, rally point. The first thing we had to do, man, is set our first rally point. And our first rally point, man, was just in wide open desert. And we had to make a perimeter. And man, and I've told this before, man. Man, we set up, man, I really think this was an experiment on us. For 3 days, we did nothing but fill sandbags. I mean, we filled sandbags. It was almost like a non-stop work / sleep deprivation type experiment. Because we were filling sandbags from sun up to sundown. I think we might have rotated in and got like an hour and a half sleep. But over 3 days, man, that's nothing. And I can remember, man, that third day, that third day, man, we were practically zombies, man. We were practically zombies. And I remember, and this is the reason I think it was some kind of experiment, because I can remember they let us sleep for like 3 to 4 days straight. We didn't have any formations. We didn't have any officers coming in. They just let us sleep that off, man. But I can remember this. I can remember when it was time to move forward, and everybody got Gatorated up and drunk, and we did our sensitive items check. Once we started moving forward toward that Iraqi border, brother, we were moving with aggression. Everybody had a completely different mindset. Yeah, between Kuwait and that first rally point, man, it was a journey. It took us a whole day or two to get out there, man. And we were kind of tiptoeing. We were kind of getting familiar with the sands. But after we built our own rally point, man, brother, we were ready. We were moving forward with aggression. We were moving forward locked and loaded. We were moving forward, man, with our heads on a swivel. So that's what I'm saying, man. In this second part of the year, man, have your head on a swivel. Have your ammo in. Be locked and loaded, man. And be moving in full mission mode, bro. Be moving in full mission mode, right? So moving with aggression. And as you're moving with aggression, man, at some point you have to become, and this is what I talked about to my brothers in the circle last week. You have to become delirious at some point in time. At some point you have to become delirious. And what I mean by that is this end goal that you have in place, this destination you're going to, whether it's more money, have a wife, have a different lifestyle, live in a different city, a different country, whatever that end goal is, at this point in time, man, you have to become delirious, or let me say it a different way. You have to become so submerged in that world that you understand, that you don't understand any other way of thinking or being. You don't understand any other way of thinking, of being, except the way it'll be at that end destination. Because to become delirious means you're living your world in an altered mental state. When you're delirious, man, people are saying you're crazy. And one of the things I was sharing with my brothers in the circle is, I said, I said, look at these brothers in the Bible, the Noahs and the Moses and the people that did big things. At a certain point in life, man, people were saying they had lost their minds. So as you travel this second half of the year, man, be one of those brothers that when people look at you and hear you speak about where you're going, they say, oh, this brother has completely lost his mind. Like the things that he speaks about, it's like I hear what he's saying, but I don't see that world around him yet. People need to think you're delirious, man. And all delirium is having a singular truth. I say it all the time. Again, just living your life as if there are no other alternatives of being. Locked in with God. Closing the triad, right? So the third point, man, is moving forward, man. So to wrap this up, because I don't want it to go too long, man, all I'm saying is make today that day. Right? Make today that day that you move forward and you focus solely on self. Make today the day that you observe your surroundings. Make today the day that you say, okay, you know what? This is what I did right. This is what I did wrong. And let me recalibrate. Make this the day that you do that, and then you move forward with aggression, brothers. Make today you move forward with aggression, right? And as all rally points serve a certain purpose, I'll say this. Like traveling that path, man. Traveling that path is not for the weak. It's not for the weak, man. And a lot of times we will travel that path, and again, we'll find ourselves slightly off. We'll find ourselves taking a wrong path. We'll find ourselves getting distracted. We'll find ourselves having fallen off of our square. Right? One thing this rally point serves, man, or one thing that it does is make this the absolute bottom. In other words, if you find yourself another 3 months or 4 months down the road and something does happen, let's say you do fall off, fall back to this point. Fall back to this rally point. Don't go back to square one. Come back to this point here, man, where you're observing, man, you're recalibrating again, and just keep moving forward. Make whatever your life is doing today, man. Make this your new bottom. Make this your new low. Whatever your finances are doing, make this your new bottom. Whatever your health level is, make this the worst your health will ever be again. So again, if anything fails, man, again, make this your rally point. Make this the point where you come back and recalibrate, brothers. So again, man, going into this second half of the year, let's lock in, brothers. Let's move aggressively.